3, cut. Hooray! Well done. All right.
Today we are here to celebrate many milestones for Centennial Yards. But most importantly, we're here to celebrate our partnerships for the reimagining of what is formerly known as the Gulch. Today, we are going to show you what we've done so far and talk to you about what we've done thus far. But the exciting part about it is that we are just beginning. We are also commencing on several other projects that you'll hear about today, and we're just grateful to have you all here with us. Our first speaker is going to be the 60th mayor of our great city, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms.
This almost feels normal. Some of you all I haven't seen in a whole year, so it's nice to see you all. Thank you all for being here. And I don't normally stick to my notes, but there's some important stuff we have to talk about. Just a reminder of how far we have come. But I first want to acknowledge Tony Ressler for his commitment to Atlanta. And what so many people don't recognize is that there is this forward-facing thing that he does with this little NBA team called the Atlanta Hawks, which everybody knows about. We love the Hawks. But it's what he does when nobody is looking. So everyone knows that last year has been a very challenging year, not just for us in Atlanta, but across the globe. And in rapid time, we had to figure out how we could help our communities. And there were angels who stepped up. And one of those angels was Tony Ressler and his beautiful wife, Jamie, making donations to our ATL Strong Fund, our Strength and Beauty Fund. And it helped fill in the gap for so many people who were in need. And this was long before the CARES Act. This was before we were all trying to figure it out in real time. So, Tony, thank you again for your love and your support of our city. And I have to recognize Steve Coonan, who has always been a great partner from my days at the Recreation Authority, and Shannon and Bridget and Deven and the entire CIM team. And we have our council member, Cleta Winslow, here. Nice to see you, council member Winslow. And so many others. I know that I'll get in a lot of trouble if I keep calling names. But also our COO, John King, Chief of Staff, Carmen Chubb, and I see we have Charlotta Jacks here, so I'm going to stop with the name calling. So I just want to share with you all how far we've come. One of my favorite quotes is from Nelson Mandela: "It always seems impossible until it's done." And as we were taking a brief tour of the building, I said, I don't remember in my lifetime there being anything in this building. And David, I think I told you that the last time I saw you. But Devin reminded me there was something here in 2005, but it still looked abandoned. So to walk through this building and to see what's been done in the heart of Atlanta, and when I think about all of the work we put into negotiating the Gulch. And I was recently asked what's been the most difficult part of my first term. That ranks really high. We all lost a lot of sleep on that. And I think our last marathon session, when we finally came to an agreement, I don't know, how many hours did we go? 9 hours that day in the mayor's office. But it was worth it. So just some of the benefits, because, you know, in Atlanta, we do things differently. And this goes back way beyond my being mayor, but really expectations that were set by other mayors, namely Mayor Maynard Jackson, and his expectations for participation and for the work that's being done in Atlanta to be reflective of who we are as a city. So we did things differently. A $28 million affordable housing trust fund, a commitment to build a minimum of 200 affordable housing units, or up to 30% of the total built, whichever is greater, an investment of $12 million in an economic development fund that will encourage investment citywide, $12 million for a 7-bay fire station with a police mini precinct constructed and leased to the city for $1 a year, $2 million for a workforce development plan on behalf of Atlanta public school students, and $5 million to replace the Nelson Street Bridge with a new pedestrian bridge. Again, it always seems impossible until it's done, but we've done it, and we are here to celebrate it. So thank you all for being here today. This is the one what I know will be many ribbon cuttings. I was joking with Tony as I saw him walking over, I said, I didn't know you were going to be here today. He said, I didn't either. So nothing like a good ribbon cutting to bring us all together. So I appreciate you all coming out. And just my last public service announcement before I take my seat, if you've not been vaccinated, please get your vaccination. You can walk right over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. No, you don't have to have an appointment. And according to Dr. Fauci, once you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask outside anymore. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Bottoms. Next, we will have Tony Ressler, chairman of our playoff-bound Atlanta Hawks.
Thank you very much. Although I keep being told I'm not supposed to say that we are playoff bound, but we are playoff bound, I assure you. Well, I'm kind of excited. I don't usually get invited to these ribbon cuttings, so this is not exactly my specialty. But first and foremost, of course, let's thank Mayor Bottoms. We're not here today without Mayor Bottoms. So we could talk a lot about what it takes to try to figure out how to fill in, shall we say, a 50-acre hole in the ground that has been here for longer than any of us want to acknowledge. But it must be said, 5 years ago, we're in a similar situation, speaking to some folks in the media, talking about how extraordinary the city of Atlanta was, Metro Atlanta is, what in fact is happening in Metro Atlanta. But the fact that we didn't have an extraordinary downtown just didn't make sense to any of us. And we felt we had an opportunity to create an extraordinary downtown. Again, under the category of could we find $5 billion of capital? Could we find a city willing to take that jump? Could we create a plan to build 10 or 12 million square feet in the middle of downtown Atlanta? I just think this is an extraordinary, extraordinary event. And as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't be more proud to be here. And thank you so much for all of your efforts. It must be said, the number one objective, maybe away from making the playoffs this season, is bringing true vitality to downtown. But that comes along with business, with entertainment, with affordable housing, with good jobs. All of that is part of the plan. Again, we are asked all the time to lay out exactly what's being constructed. And as David and I were talking and laughing about, I don't think Deven laughs about it anymore. He doesn't have as much a sense of humor. But it must be said, we're like, what are we building? Can we say exactly what's going up? We're quite sure we're going to be building 12 million square feet. There's, I don't know, last time I heard 14, 15 distinct parcels. It's going to be so extraordinary in some of the options that we have, but there's so much work still to be done. But the fact that we're here now, I think is just an incredible, incredible and clear message that we are here and that we are going to, in fact, develop Centennial Yards in downtown Atlanta with 12 million square feet and $5 billion invested in this area. That's extraordinary, and for that, we couldn't be more delighted. I would say another point, again under the selfish, but it's really not just for me, but for any of us. We've talked about this a number of times at the Atlanta Hawks. One of the great benefits of developing Centennial Yards, people taking MARTA to the stadium or to the arena or to the conference center or to the Hall of Fame or to the Civil Rights Museum, all of these opportunities coming from the MARTA station was a 20, 25-minute walk. Some might say should be a run. But as far as I'm concerned, we're going to soon have a 7-minute walk with shopping and extraordinary opportunities along that process. That changes the game. That reduces traffic, makes downtown more attractive for all of Metro Atlanta, and something that's going to be an extraordinary benefit for this community. So again, I do have a tendency to get excited over things I love. This would be one of them. I really do believe we are in the early innings, but clearly the early innings, of transforming downtown Atlanta, and all of us should, at least from my perspective, be enormously excited about what the future holds. On behalf of our investor base, our local investor base, I might add, as well as our development partners at CIM, we couldn't be more proud to be here, and I want to thank everyone for their time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. Next, we will have Deven Corkle, our first VP of Investments for CIM.
Thanks, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us here today. We're here today at Centennial Yards South, the first 6 acres of the 50-acre Centennial Yards project. Following the speeches, we'll cut the ribbon on the first building, the Lofts at Centennial Yards South, 162 units, but we're also here to celebrate so many more milestones and commencement activities. Right adjacent to 125 Ted Turner Drive, we have 99 Ted Turner Drive. We've completed the exterior renovations and are just now commencing interior work to ready those buildings for office occupancy by the end of the year. At the base of these 2 great historic buildings, we also have a 740-foot-long retail environment that we call the Canyon. And just last week, we announced that Wild Leap Brewing is going to anchor 15,000 square feet of that environment, a tremendous thing for downtown in this area. Between these 2 buildings, we've already completed the demolition of the existing Nelson Street Bridge to pave way for the groundbreaking on a new pedestrian connector between South Downtown and Castleberry Hill. And outside of Centennial Yards South and Centennial Yards, not far from us, we've completed the work at 160 Trinity and are halfway through the work at 185 Ted Turner to ready those buildings for occupancy by city agencies. And finally, just recently we made another milestone in the bond validation process, and on the heels of that success are getting ready to break ground on many more exciting things over the course of 2021 and the coming years. And in closing, these 50 acres from here stretching all the way to the stadium, the arena, Centennial Park, and Five Points is going to be, established with an environment that stretches from residential, office, retail, and infrastructure, recreating all the neighborhoods of downtown from Castleberry to South Downtown and Fairleigh Poplar. And it's going to be done in a way that echoes the sentiments of Tony and the mayor earlier, that's done with a neighborhood approach, creating opportunities and having unprecedented commitments to affordable housing and community development. And with that, I'd like to introduce Shannon Crowell, who's led the development activities for all these great milestones that we're here to celebrate today. Shannon.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody here. Being here has special meaning to many of us because we grew up here. And one of the things that I'd like to do is thank all of our partners for helping us get to this point. Many of us know that getting started is sometimes the hardest thing to do in life, and this is our milestone to indicate that we've gotten started. So I'd like to thank the mayor again, the Hawks, Tony and Steve. I'd like to thank Central Atlanta Progress, Stream Realty, the City of Atlanta staff, John Keene in particular. The city's been a great partner with us through our design efforts and engineering efforts. We've permitted and built a good bit of work to date. I'd like to thank Server Barber, who's been our architect for this project, Whiting Turner as the contractor. I'd like to acknowledge Stevens and Wilkinson and Ron Stang, who's here in the office, who has designed the Nelson Street Bridge, which we'll start construction on very soon. And then I'd like to thank our development team here in Atlanta. We've built a robust team. Many of our members are here in the audience. And highlight for you guys that coming up in the very near future, we will be breaking ground in Centennial Yards on infrastructure and utilities for roughly 25% of the project. That's pretty much it, what we've got going on. A lot of the work is technical. Some of it is not immediately visible, but it's all very exciting, and you'll see a lot of activity in the very near future. From here, we'd like to take everybody upstairs, and as Bridget mentioned earlier, we've got some special treats waiting by the door. And I'm sorry I left out one particular special person, and that's Councilperson Cleta Winslow. Thank you, Cleta, for your staunch support over the last few years, and we hope to continue working with everyone in partnership to make this project a great success.